Power ranking time, the herd hierarchy going into week 14 of the NFL season. Before we get to the top 10 from Colin, let's get to my top 10. This is going into last weekend. A lot of moving parts here. This is what it looks like now. San Francisco's the biggest jump. They crucified, shouts to Mel Gibson, crucified Philadelphia on live TV. Ravens stay at 3. Cowboys move up. Impressive. But we know, they had themselves a hard-fought game. Usually Dallas is the team that front runs. Usually they're beating teams running away from them. But against Seattle, they had to kind of fight for it. Good win, no doubt about it. Detroit picks one up in the Superdome. Miami starting to kind of roll. Miami sneaky. Could be the 1 seed when it's all said and done in the AFC. Kansas City, ladies and gentlemen, how many weeks have I been saying it? The offense is not good enough. The offense is not good enough, and Travis Kelce isn't playing good enough to help Patrick Mahomes enough to get this team over the hump. They dropped Jacksonville, I think stays the same actually, because 2 new teams have entered the fray. The Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts. How crazy is that? 3 teams out of the AFC South. Wild times there. 7-5, 7-5. Houston. I think Houston's much better than Indy, but I have to have 10 teams, and Indy is the one. So that's the new top 10. Let's get to Colin's list.
The herd hierarchy.
Herd hierarchy.
Time is now. Let's go.
The top 10 NFL teams according to college. Number 10.
I think the Green Bay Packers have won 4 of 5. I don't think it was a fluke. I think they're playing.
I don't know. I mean, good win. I mean, you beat the defending champions, no doubt, but they're too Jordan Love high and low. Like if Jordan Love has a bad game or he isn't just amazing, the team seems to fall apart. Now, if Jordan Love is competent or if Jordan Love is good, like he was against the Chiefs or like he was against the Lions, then yeah, the Packers are good. I think they're better right now than they have been previously in the season. So they are upticking. They are definitely in that 12 to 14 range. I don't think they're top 10 yet, but if I was a Packers fan, I would feel good about what Jordan Love is currently doing.
Playing well. This is the best their defense has played in several years. They're 16-0 in December under Matt LaFleur.
Has nothing to do with the current team. Complete throwaway stat. I'm not sure why Colin's audio sounds like he's underwater and also a robot, but bear with me.
3 straight games without a turnover. Listen, Jordan Love is going to have some erratic play. He's a little bit of a Josh Allen,
Well, if he has erratic play, the Packers will be an erratic team. And what do you know it? That's exactly what they have been. They have been an erratic team this season. So it's hard for me to put a really volatile team into the top 10 this late into the season. Early on, sure, because we don't really know the full landscape of the NFL. But now, when we have an idea of who is where, it's hard for me to say, you know what, I fully trust Jordan Love. You know what, I fully trust the Packers. Because this is the kind of team that they could lose 4 in a row, not blink, and then have the best game of the year.
He's side-arming it, but he has confidence. Matt is a great late-season coach. They're getting a real pass rush. Chargers, Lions, Chiefs. These are not standings. I don't care how bad he was in October. That's not what we do here. Green Bay's a top 10. Maybe I have him underserved a spot. Team in the league.
I don't know about that.
Number 9.
Listen, I'm not going to sell all my stock on Buffalo. They're going to lose to the Chiefs, but it's going to be.
I mean, if they lose to the Chiefs, then what are we even talking about? Like if I understand that last week he had him 9, they're on a bye, so I guess keep him at 9, fine. But if you believe they're going to lose to KC, I'd get him out of there. I mean, Buffalo's only shot at anything is if they beat Kansas City. And if they beat Kansas City, here's a little question for you. If Buffalo beats Kansas City, is that more of a referendum on Buffalo or on Kansas City? Where is the focus on that game? Is it that Buffalo's better than we think, or is it that Kansas City's not as good as we think?
Be competitive. 3-point road loss to the Eagles is not the end of the world. They rank 5 in point differential. Josh Allen's
It's not the end of the world, but it is the end of the world when you need to win these games because your back is against the wall because you're a 500 team. If it was week 1, yeah, not a bad loss. But right now, Buffalo cannot have losses.
Insane all-time talent. I still think they have a good, though not great, coach. The best third down offense in the league. Their offense in the red zone. They get touchdowns, not field goals. Now, it's too dependent on Josh Allen. It's a good football operation. I respect a lot of people in the building. They can't quite get the details right.
Number 8.
Houston. They've won 4 of.
Okay. Yeah. And, Colin had them unranked last week. I had them unranked. Now they're both entering the fray here. Me at 9, Colin at 8. CJ Stroud's for real. And what's really impressed me about Houston is that they're winning these tight games. They're winning games they shouldn't be winning. They're winning hard games. DeMeco Ryans, no one's really talking about him because CJ Stroud is getting a ton of the spotlight, but DeMeco Ryans is a real deal coach. Real deal coach. Little tip to Houston, I'd probably give the ball less to Dameon Pierce. Tank Dell, big injury, unfortunately. Tank Dell's been fantastic this season. Him and Nico Collins, that kind of triple threat of Stroud, Dell, Collins. So obviously the offense takes a hit. Nico Collins will have to step up and become, the number one there now. But moving forward, I would buy stock in Houston. It's a quarterback you can believe in. 2 good wide receivers, a good head coach. They got to figure out some other positions, but a lot to be happy about if you're a Texans fan.
8 consecutive games decided by 1 possession. They're not a great team. They're a highly functioning, well-coached team with a star rookie quarterback. I like them a lot.
He's kind of underselling that because if you're winning all these one-score games with such a young team and a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback, that's a hugely positive sign. Hugely positive that you're doing that in your first year. That's when you would be losing those games. When you're inexperienced, you haven't been there, things like that. So to see this from the Texans this early, tip of the cap.
This is not a fluke. Denver was on a roll and they beat Denver, and Denver struggled to move the ball. Russell Wilson had his first bad game in several weeks. Right now they got so many of these good players are kids. Nico Collins and C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson, Tank Dell, Dameon Pierce a couple years ago. They're a very young football team, but I like them, and I have them at 8.
Number 7.
Miami, I worry about. They got one way to play.
No, Miami's sweet. You don't worry about Miami. Miami, their defense is figuring it out. The Jalen Ramsey, Vic Fangio combination coming on here late is making a difference. Making a big difference. Miami's awesome. I think Miami is underrated. I think people wrote them off early because of the narrative that they can't beat good teams. If things kind of fall their way, they could be the 1 seed in the AFC. Tyreek Hill, does he have a legit argument for the MVP? I say yes. He could be, if he averages like 105 yards the rest of the way per game, he'll be the only receiver in NFL history to break 2,000 yards. I don't know. At this point now, it's like, could be the 1 seed, could have the MVP, and yet we're sitting here, they're 9-3, and we're sitting here talking about them at 7. Does that seem a little off? I think so. I think in a few weeks, we're going to be all wondering why we were so down on Miami. I might get a Super Bowl ticket on Miami this week, but Miami's kind of taking people by surprise. I think they had so much hype early on in the season, and then they were kind of disappointing in that middle juncture there that people jumped off the bandwagon. But it's probably time to get back on Miami's bandwagon.
1-3 against teams 500 or better, but
there's the
number
right
1
there.
Passing offense, the number 2 rushing offense, they're number 1 in the red zone offense, so they score touchdowns, and I think Mike McDaniel is better offense, so they score touchdowns. 1 passing offense, the number 2 rushing offense.
Yeah, when he talks about they only have one way to win, they're the number 1 passing offense, number 2 rushing offense. So they don't have only one way to win. This is kind of a multi-layered, multiple way to beat you kind of team.
They're number 1 in the red zone offense, so they score touchdowns, and I think Mike McDaniel is basically he's an Ivy League version of Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, I agree. He's Kyle Shanahan. He's Sean McVay. He is that next wonder kid kind of guy. McDaniel, I have videos on this channel dating back to week 2. Where I was saying Mike McDaniel is rewriting the NFL. He is an offensive genius.
Speed matters. I just like him. I like what I see. I have my doubts about them against the elite teams and elite defenses, but it should be noted their defense is getting better. Miami, maybe a spot low, but I have them at 7.
Number 6.
Detroit. O-line.
Yep, Detroit kind of in the same ballpark. I think we're right there now. Yeah, I had Miami at 6. I have Detroit. Okay, so I have KC. I have KC kind of low, and I'll get to that when Colin starts talking about them. But I like Detroit a lot. Okay, I like Detroit a lot. If as a Saints fan, it's hard for me to, kind of look at the Saints game unbiased. But if you look at that, Detroit jumps out to that huge lead, and it kind of got hairy there at the end. They were only up by 3 late, so you can't feel great about that. Goff wasn't that impressive. Again, you go up 21-0. Do you have to be impressive? No, they ran the ball really well. Detroit is a team with a misidentity. People think Detroit is an air raid, spread it out, West Coast, throw it around the park kind of team. They aren't that. They've never been that. Okay, Detroit is a physical, running team. They dominate you at the line of scrimmage, and they want Jared Goff to play off play action. That's what they want to do. If they get back to doing that, they'll be successful. If they get into these shootouts and they lean on Jared Goff to just spread it out, go empty set and spread it out, they're not going to be that good, or they won't have the success that they want to have. But Detroit needs to get back to basics. They're still 9-3. Good road win against the Saints. I mean, it is what it is. 21-0. It's hard to lose that game, but got hairy late. They did what they had to do. Jared Goff found the first down to ice the game at the end there with a minute left. So kudos to Detroit. Note, if you haven't watched my other videos, the Detroit fans traveled to New Orleans more than any other road team I've ever seen in the Superdome. So kudos to the Detroit Lions fans.
Run game, 14-4 over the last 18 regular season games. Yeah, they mailed it in against Green Bay. It got whacked, but maybe Green Bay is better than we think. Their defense, I don't think you can solve their defensive problems.
I don't know if they did mail it in. I think that was more of a, hey, they turned the ball over and Detroit capitalized, or Green Bay capitalized.
I also think because of their ball control style, Goff, the run game, they could also beat virtually anybody in the NFC, including Dallas. If that offensive line was leaning in, they played with a lead, played in good weather. So I don't think they're going to win in cold weather in Philly, but they could go down to Dallas and win, or have a home.
See, that's just a weird thing to say, because they're kind of built to be a cold weather team. Not that I think it really matters, but they're built to be that team to just punish you at the line of scrimmage, win a grinded out, run the ball kind of game. That's what they want to do.
Home game and win. I have Detroit at 6.
Number 5.
I think Kansas City will keep moving up. Right now they're 5.
Okay, so he dropped them pretty good from 3 to 5. Then I dropped them big time. I mean, I've seen enough. It's the same story every single week. The only reason we believe in this team, the only reason people are giving any credence to Kansas City is because of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. And I'll admit, those are great reasons to give them benefit of the doubt. Could be the greatest coach to ever coach, and could be the greatest quarterback to ever quarterback. So I don't blame you. What I'm saying is they have a problem that they can't fix. And that problem is they don't have wide receivers. That problem is they don't have playmakers. And that problem is Travis Kelce is not playing at the MVP level that he has to play to balance all that out. If Travis Kelce is, playing at a top 10 receiver level, basically, the Chiefs can operate around some of their deficiencies. But if he's not playing at his peak, this team just can't do it. I mean, they're a boring, slow, defensive first, can't score team. I mean, there's nothing to like about them besides Mahomes and Andy Reid. They will succeed as far as those two will take them, but there is no way, unless there is an insane amount of progression from Kadarius Toney and Rashee Rice and Sky Moore or whoever else, there's no way this team, with the lack of playmakers in today's NFL, can make a true run at the Super Bowl.
5. They've got key injuries on defense. They're going to get healthier. They've got an offensive line issue. They're going to get healthier. But they've
Now, I will make a note. Their remaining schedule, very easy. Very easy. After the Buffalo game, gets super easy. So this is a team that could walk into the 1 seed as well. It's a bunch of doomsday stuff, it sounds like I'm saying right now, but they could be the 1 seed when it's all said and done. They're certainly in the mix.
Lost 3 of 5 games. They don't give you 400 yards of offense. They're still trying to rework their wide receiving core. Right now, they got a lot of things that have converged. Untimely injuries, all to the same spot. Young wide receivers. They're going to be fine. But, I mean, listen, Mahomes, you're watching it in real time. Teachers getting upset with students. You're watching it. They're fine. They're going to get better. I said this 35 minutes ago. They're going to get to the AFC Championship, but the herd hierarchies today, and right now today, they're beat up, and they're not a great team yet.
Number 4.
Baltimore. I keep putting them at 4. I like them a lot.
Yeah, I like Baltimore a lot. I have them at 3. They're on a bye week. We know how good they are. We've been saying it all year long. They just got to keep it up. Lamar playing at a very high level. As long as he continues to play at a high level, the team's going to go.
Number 1 rush offense, number 1 scoring defense, and Lamar's gone back-to-back games without a turnover. They can be a little sloppy in the fourth quarter. I don't know if I trust them against the best teams late.
Yeah, historically, Lamar hasn't been great late in games, but is that something that's going to stick forever? I don't really think so. It's like how much can you really grade something like that? But he does have to get better late in games.
They've been very fortunate where they've gotten some of the tougher games at home, Seattle, Detroit, and just hammered them. Once again, they got a Rams team playing well at home, traveling cross country. So fortuitous a bit in the schedule. I like them a lot. I love the organization. I respect everybody. They got real speed and Zay Flowers. I have them at 4, and I've had them there for a while.
Number 3.
Let's not sell the farm on.
Okay, so I was wondering if he would drop Philly to 3. The only reason I could be okay with this is if Jalen Hurts is hurt, no pun intended. If he's really hurt, then I can understand on a 1-week kind of power ranking dropping them a little further. I think Philly is still clearly one of the 2 best teams in the NFL. They got dog walked by San Francisco. Tough schedule right now. We've talked about before how hard Philly's schedule is at this moment with Buffalo and San Francisco and now Dallas and Kansas City before that. They're dogs against Dallas. I mean, if Jalen Hurts isn't 100%, that could be ugly. All of a sudden Philly could drop back-to-back games. That we rarely see them lose a game, much less back-to-back games. So a lot of what I would say about this team is fully predicated on Jalen Hurts' health.
On Philadelphia. They had played Dallas, Kansas City, Buffalo, and San Francisco in 4.
I mean, that's such a crazy stretch. Dallas, Kansas City, Buffalo, San Francisco, Dallas. That's a nut stretch of the season.
Straight weeks. They looked tired. They look exhausted in the second half. You cannot face the Cowboys, the Chiefs, Buffalo, and San Francisco. And, it's not college. The margins are tight. I just thought they looked exhausted. I think they're going to bounce back and play a really good game against Dallas, but that's their schedule. Now it's going to go Dallas, Kansas City, Buffalo, San Francisco, Dallas. This team, that's harder than a playoff run.
Yeah, I mean, he's right. Like that's like 2 playoff runs built into the middle of the season. Such a hard schedule. And I mean, they give them credit. They almost navigated it. They slipped up, and now we'll see what they do against Dallas. But yeah, I mean, just a horrible spot in the schedule.
I mean, usually the first round of the playoffs, you get a game at home you should win.
Yeah.
They look like a tired, beat-up team that's talented, like Kansas City. They will right the ship. They got to step off the treadmill for about 30 minutes and take a break, but I still like Philly.
No.
Yeah, he put that really well at the end there, where I think Philly, when it's all said and done, will be positioned to be that dominant team we've seen from them again. It's just right now, they're just wearing themselves down. They do need to kind of take that break, take that breather. Bad news in the NFL is you don't get that break, you don't get that breather. Their breather was last week against San Francisco, and now they're playing Dallas. So I'm not exactly sure where the break is. They might have to take their lumps for a few weeks, but I think at the end of the day, they're going to be just fine.
Number 2.
Dallas. Now, they don't have any wins over a winning, no.
So let me say this about Dallas. I'm starting to believe. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm starting to believe this team can do it because Dak Prescott's playing like an MVP. That's it. From watching this channel, you need 1 of 2 things to win the Super Bowl. Quarterback on a rookie contract, MVP quarterback. Right now, they have an MVP quarterback. Right now, Dak Prescott is playing like an MVP. If he is going to continue doing that, this team can win the Super Bowl. If he's, before the season, we were talking about Dallas, and we said Dak's average, Dak's a little above average at his best moments, but he's not consistently good enough to really make this team a threat. And I'm eating my words a little bit on this one because Dak so far through 12 games has been that good. He has been transcendently good, and this is what it looks like. When you give a team like Dallas, with the roster that Dallas has, when you give them an MVP level quarterback on top of things, they are a scary team. For sure. And, Colin's had to talk about it. They haven't beat that big team, the San Francisco, the Philadelphia, whoever. What happens if they put it on Philly this week? What happens then? What's the conversation around Dallas if they really slap around Philadelphia? And they're the favorites. They're the favorites in the game, so they're projected to win the game. If they go out there, look really impressive, beat Philly real bad, all of a sudden you're talking about could win the division. You're talking about could be 1 seed, 2 seed situation, hosting a playoff game, MVP level quarterback. Sounds like a Super Bowl team to me.
Wins over teams currently with a winning record, but they're not giving the ball up. They only have 10 giveaways. Dak's playing in rhythm. I think they can be at times a bit CeeDee Lamb reliant, but Ferguson now playing well. Brandon Cooks matters more now.
Yeah, I think offensively they are really reliant on CeeDee Lamb. I think they could probably use some more depth at wide receiver. They really do need a number 2, but it hasn't affected them this season at all. They've looked really, really good, and maybe that just works. Like maybe that works for them, that he's the guy and he's the known guy. And they're not worried about spreading it out as much. They're worried about funneling the offense through Dak and through CeeDee Lamb.
Now, Tony Pollard's getting into the end zone. Tyron Smith, left tackle, is healthy. This is a very, very good football team. Now, you can't put them one, and I don't know if I trust them in January in a big spot, but we have to be fair. Yeah. Right now, they're healthy. They're playing well. They have an emerging star at corner. We thought Trayvon Diggs gone for the season. It would hurt. Well, they found another guy. Dallas at 2.
Number 1.
San Francisco.
Yeah, obvious here. They've got to be 1. What a performance against Philadelphia. The ultimate revenge spot. Everyone saw it from a million miles away. Now, San Francisco has 2 things. Quarterback on the rookie deal. Actually, Brock Purdy's on less of a rookie deal. Quarterback on a rookie deal, MVP level quarterback. I don't know how this has happened. Brock Purdy is, in some places, the betting favorite to win the MVP. Mr. Irrelevant can go from the last pick of the draft to the MVP. Unbelievable. Really unbelievable. This San Francisco team just cooking. What else can you say about them? They're loaded. And if Brock Purdy is, I'll go ahead and tell you this right now. If Brock Purdy is going to play like that, this team's not going to lose. There you go. If he is going to be the MVP for the rest of the season, go ahead and give them the Lombardi Trophy. They cannot be beat if they have a quarterback playing at that level on that contract. The rest of the team is too talented. The coach is too good. Winning culture. 10 out of 10, infinity gold stars. San Francisco is it right now.
Those destroyed Dallas and Philadelphia. They destroyed Jacksonville. They destroyed the Steelers. They're one of those teams that they will go out. If they are humming, it doesn't really matter.
No. Agreed.
Is anybody going to argue about this pick?
No.
Right now, this is the best team in the league.
Yes. Agreed. Not much else to say about San Francisco, to be honest. They're that good. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comments below what your top 10 is. Where do you disagree with me? Where do you agree with Colin? There's the list. Pretty similar. I had Indy. Let's see. The big changes is I had Indy and who else had Jacksonville. So I kept Jacksonville in there, and I have Indy in there, and he has Green Bay and Buffalo. So let me know where you disagree or agree. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.